Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another story time on this channel. Today, y'all, I don't even know what I'm gonna call this one. I don't know why memory unlocked from high school. Maybe it's because we unfortunately have the same president again as of a few months. By the end of this story time, you're gonna understand what I mean. Today's story time is none other than another PWI story time. Okay? If you get it, you get it. If you don't know what PWI is, you're going to understand by the end of this video. And if you're another black person or person of color who knows what that means, sit down, relax, and listen to this story that baffled me as a black woman who grew up PWI. So once upon a time, when I was already a few years into high school, this new girl transferred to my school. And the only reason I really know who she was is because I played basketball and she was a basketball player. So when she transferred to the school, she transferred like in the basketball class. And obviously I knew all my teammates. I knew like I don't know how you guys' school was, but girls basketball was falling off when I was in high school. Like the boys basketball teams, they used to have freshmen, JV, and varsity. Girls only had JV and varsity, so I pretty much knew everybody. Then all of a sudden, this one girl transferred to my school, like I said, my class, and obviously I got to know her because I knew all the basketball girlies, right? My first impression of this girl was that she was pretty chill. Like she was nice, just asking basic questions, talking about what school she came from and all that. And when she was in the middle of talking about what school she came from, it like a spark went off in my head because I actually knew someone from that school. It was a very small school. Like my high school was public, that school was like different. It was like charter or something like that. And I knew someone who went there. So I remember I asked, I'm like, oh, do you know so and so? And she's like, yeah, like I know her. But she was like, I don't really like know her. I just like knew her. And I just figured out my friend that went to that other school isn't really like a key piece in this story, but we got to give the who's the star of the show, we got to give her name. We're going to call her Cindy. Cindy. So basically in high school, COVID changed me. Okay, I was class of 2020. In high school, I was social butterfly. I was, of course, I'm going to talk to the new girl and make friends with her. Like I said, especially in basketball when the class is small. So, me and Cindy, I feel like I became like her first like basketball friend, right? I became like her first like person that she would actually like followed and would like talk to more and stuff. And like I said, she was new to the school. And y'all know what else comes with like the beginning of high school or the school year in high school is homecoming. So I remember homecoming came around, like I was asking if she was gonna go and stuff, and she was saying that yeah, she wanted to go and stuff. She's like, could I come with you? Like, could I meet up with you and your friends, or we take pictures and stuff like that? And like I said, like she gave chill, cool vibes. So I was like, of course, Cindy, like of course you can come. So Cindy comes to the park that me and my friend take pictures at. We hang out. She hangs out with us and my group at homecoming. Everything is chill. Everything's chill. Um, for the most part, right? So I remember when I posted homecoming and I posted my pictures and stuff. My friend from Cindy's school, I remember she like slid up or she like had a conversation with me post homecoming and we were just talking. I think we might have, I don't think she actually slid up on something about Cindy. I think we were just like speaking. And she was like, hey, like I recognize like Cindy from my old school. And I was like, oh yeah, she's chill. She plays basketball. I forgot to bring her up. Like I remember she said she had came to your school and stuff, right? And like my friend's demeanor, it's not, oh yeah, I know. It's like, oh, I see Cindy. And mind you, this is context for the story. Cindy is white and blonde. My friend who went to the other school is another black girl like me. And she's just like, oh yeah, like I recognize Cindy. And like I said, context of what everybody looks like is is gonna make sense very, very soon the more you listen. So I'm like, yeah, and she's like just kind of standoffish about it. She's like, yeah, I remember Cindy, she went to my school last year. Like, I don't know, girl, she's weird. Like, I don't really remember my friend elaborating into exactly what she meant, but she's like, I remember Cindy, she went to school with us. She went to school with me. Her opinions, like she's like y'all know when black people just have that but I didn't know exactly what she meant by that she's weird. So for me it was more of a like, oh, she's been like cool to me, so I'm just gonna like fill it out since my friend didn't explain exactly what she meant. But as time went on, it started to make sense. So I think in just about a month or a couple months, whenever basketball season started, because like I said, I played basketball with this, everything started to connect, connect, right? So this was incident number one before the final offense. Um, I remember me and my team, we are getting ready at a different school. And I just remember like we were all having a conversation. And in high school is for me, because I'm 22, is when Cap, when he popped off, right? So, like all of high school, I had not been standing for the pledge, standing for the Star Spangled Banner, except for like my own games where like we had to. But if I was watching football, if I was watching the boys, if it was class, no, I'm with Cap all day. And I don't remember exactly how this first offense went. I just remember I'm pretty sure me and another black girl on my team were talking about Colin Kaepernick, and Cindy decides to like chime in. And I don't know why she felt like safe, because like I said, I I grew up PWI, but it was like on the basketball team, the white people were out. No, like I don't know. She was a bold one. She was a bold one. This is when her first event showed. She chimed in the conversation and was like, "Yeah, like I think he's so rude." Which no one else was giving that energy except you. And so I'm not the type to back down, even if I thought like the white person who was my friend was cool. So I was like, what's rude about it? And of course she goes into the typical white people who are mad about him rant about the military, and it's disrespectful to the military and like honoring our country. Like, why would he do that? And y'all, I'm not gonna be like, this was a really dumb conversation. I don't remember a lot of it. I'm 22 years old. This was probably when I was 16. I just remember we were going back and forth. I was going back and forth with the points, eating her up. Like, I'm like, he's not talking about the military. He's protesting some very real problems. Like, you don't get it. Like, all this stuff. And she's just like, I think it's rude. I'm like, well, do you think it's rude? Like, it's so funny, guys, the conversation of going back and forth. Because I feel like the rest of the team is just like, they're just like watching, go back. Like she's not being like too smart because I feel like she knows better because she knows me. But she's definitely like holding her ground. And I'm definitely like, but yeah, I'm basically just arguing with her, but I'm winning because I'm like, one, he met with the veteran to ask like what was a more respectful way, and which is why he chose kneeling instead of sitting. Two, what he's protesting doesn't have anything to do with the military. Three, like I'm really like bitch. And my favorite points to bring up when people like to talk about like Kaepernick too is I'm like, there's so many people who are actually disruptive during the anthem, that but nobody cares until a black person sat down. I was like, I be at sporting events, I be seeing people on their phones during the anthem. I be seeing people who keep talking, who are like loud. I'm like, and you guys never cared about any of those. And I'm like, if you care so much, that's what I also used to think about like the people who are mad. I'm like, when the anthem comes on TV, do you stand? You don't? How disrespectful. But I'm at home. But it's the like, they're just so dumb. So I remember I was basically eating her up with all the points, and she basically just like piped down a little bit. Like, oh, like that's just my opinion, but like I guess I see what you mean a little bit. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was the first. I was so confused. I was like, "This is post game. I'm trying to get in the game mood." I just had to argue with this girl. I'm like, "Oh, now I'm starting to see what my friend when my friend said her opinions and that she's weird." I'm like, "Okay." Second offense, y'all. I had history class with this other white girl at my school who was actually chill. And I just remember I was like either sitting at the table with this like random girl or something, and I heard her talking about Cindy, and she was just like complaining about Cindy. Like she was a right, she was complaining about Cindy because she was saying that in her other class Cindy was talking about how she's a Trump supporter and her whole family loves him. And so I'm like, okay. Okay. That was the second offense, guys. Third offense, I want to say this with like the next is a third offense. And y'all, I'm moving through just these examples of me seeing the type of person she is to get to the conversation that like I remember down to a T. That's like the whole thing of the plot. But by this time, when I'm like, when she tried to argue with me and get smart with me about sitting about protesting and Kaepernick and hearing that she likes Trump and all that stuff. By this time I was already like, oh, like she's just a teammate now. Like I don't follow her, like no. But third offense too is I remember senior year, unfortunately, I got put in history with this. And what do you guys know about high school and senior year? You got to start having debates. Now we're having a debate about immigration, and what side do you think this is on? Okay. When I tell y'all that debate was so hard to watch. And like I said, I grew up PWI, which means predominantly white institution, but I'm from Southern California. The next majority was Mexican people and a lot of Mexican families with like immigrant parents or immigrant relatives and all that. So we're all just sitting up in this in the class like blank stare. Like she thought she ate, but she every like I could feel the hate in everybody's eyes. My teacher that year too was actually like a Mexican woman, and she literally was like telling her at some points and like she was still trying to keep it cordial because like of course she's our teacher, but she was even telling her some of her points in the debate because you know Trump is an idiot and he spreads misinformation that his cult likes to worship. Like she was even telling her like some of that stuff is not proven, is not true. It's just like not true, and it's not a good part of the argument. And she was just going on about, well, I think it was hard to watch. Fourth offense, everybody. Why does it always happen? Why does it always happen in the locker room? In the locker room, me and my black friend again are minding our black business, having a conversation, but it's still like the team, like it's people are open. We're talking about music, and like I think she's talking about how one of her friends slipped when it came to the N word and stuff. And again, why is Cindy butting in saying, I don't understand why we're not allowed to say it? Get out! She's like, I don't understand why we're not allowed to say it when it's in music. Like, it's just a song. It's not racist when it's in music. Like, who cares? And now I gotta go back and forth with you again. I'm just like because we don't like to hear it. Like I never understand. See, as a black person who's an ally to other marginalized communities, I'm just like I feel like I'll never butt my head into their business when it comes to disagreeing with the majority or something that makes sense to them. I'm like that's them. And as a black woman where I say like our culture is so widespread and people feel entitled to all the time. I don't ever want to make another community feel like I'm entitled, no matter what my opinion is. So I'm just like, why is she even feel like she's a part in this conversation or should have a say? What? So yeah, the other black people on the team are we're just saying like we don't think it's right and it's hurtful to us and we don't like it. And she's just like, then why is it in music? Like it doesn't really make sense. Like I could understand when it's outside, but she's just like, I don't understand what the big deal is. And we're just like, why does it matter if I'm just repeating what someone else said or whatever? And it's just like, why are you still speaking? Why are you still speaking? It was just weird, y'all. It was just weird. Again, why she gotta ruin our before the game energy? Like, again, the energy of the locker room was still everybody just like, because what is this bitch talking about? What is she talking about? Say it right here in this locker room and see what happens since you think it's okay.
A day in the press. Miley, what's good?
Okay. Oh, okay. Now here is where it comes down to the official I. What did I tell you at the end or at the beginning of this story time? I was class of 2020 in high school. I graduated 5 years ago. What happened in 2020? The world shut down and everybody started caring about black people. It's not funny, but it's like funny because I'm like, it's crazy. Like I said, being a black woman growing up PWI, me always posting about stuff that rubbed me the wrong way, whether it comes to the black community, how people treat immigrants, how people treat gay people. I've always been like reposting my beliefs, but then in 2020 all of a sudden all these bitches wanted to join me and start acting like they cared. And y'all know how that goes. Okay, RIP Breonna Taylor, RIP George Floyd, RIP Ahmaud Arbery, and all of the above. So in 2020, I'm doing, like I said, what I always do, where I'm posting my beliefs and I'm posting awareness and I'm spreading awareness. But as you know, there's a lot more resources and, like I said, a lot more people following me all of a sudden when it comes to these cases. Um, and I get a DM. Like I said, I'm pretty sure by this time, the first three offenses were enough. But apparently Miss Cindy still followed me. I get a message and it's from Cindy. And I'm already like tight. Cause black people, during that year, it was like I was feeling tense, like what? Like what? Literally. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a message from this bitch. Out of all people. And I'm expecting it to be something bad. And it was. Let me get there. So I opened the chat. And of course, like I said, I was expecting it to be something. And it's Cindy. She slid up on one of my posts just about what had been going on, BLM, all that. And what I'm expecting is her probably trying to argue with me like she did in the locker room one time, or argue with people like she did when it came to the immigration debate. I see an apology, but with context. So I start reading this whole long paragraph where she's basically just like, hey, Alicia, like, I know we don't always agree and we've had like our arguments on certain things, but I just wanted to say, like, with all that's going on right now, I'm kind of starting to understand and I kind of get it. And what made me feel this way is I follow Billie Eilish. Yo, I'm like, what am I about to read? It gets worse, I promise. And she's like, and she posted this one analogy about, like, I don't, it was like this analogy about how this relates. And when I listened to her analogy, it really made me understand and see how, like, some of the stuff that you had been telling me when we used to argue was right. Okay. So once again, I'm not gonna lie and act like I completely remember what analogy Billie Eilish posted, but I'm assuming it was probably one that was going around a lot when it's like, oh, how would you feel if this was your son? Or you would rally if this was your son? Something, or some kind of thing that she said made her get it. So I'm looking at it like, okay, this is unexpected. This is not what I expected out of her. I thought she was going to try to argue with me or something. But she's like, what baffled me is I'm like, okay, apology, saying you're starting to understand where I was coming from, valid. You saying that you get it now because a white person posted an analogy, but a black person who's been talking about it from experience for years didn't do for you. But a white person posted an analogy, and now all of a sudden, I get it. I get it. But so I literally told her that. And I don't know what, like, as other black people or people of color who grew up PWI, like when you're in those spaces, you're like a lot more timid than I am now. Now, I'm like, I might have just blocked her. for saying something like that. But back then, like you have to be around these people, you have to go to school with them. You just try so hard to like not let stuff bother you or try to be cordial. That now though. If you're another black person or a person of color who grows up around these types of people, being cordial with my whole chest. Okay? Um so I basically tell her that. I'm like, okay, you say you're sorry for how you've acted in some of the arguments we've had before and you get it now. But I was like, do you understand how crazy that is to say that you understand it now because a white person who has no experience with racism posted something about it and now it just magically makes sense to you? Like I said, rather than me who has been arguing and talking to you from my life experience. I was like, "Do you understand how crazy and backwards that is?" And again, I'm waiting because, like I said, sometimes when I used to go back and forth with her, she really used to stand her ground, but she's still being. She's like, honestly, like I see what you mean, but I don't think it has anything to do with her being white. I just think the analogy just really hit and okay, okay. Like I literally think I just like left her on red because I was like, there's no way like my brain cells can do this. And like when I reflect back on that conversation and someone really having the nerve to tell me that, it's like partially, Billie Eilish posting that analogy or whatever. Sometimes I'm like, okay, it is helpful because people understand things sometimes when it's delivered in different ways, as with anyone. Like it doesn't matter if you guys are different racially or whatever, just certain things speak to different people in different ways. But I'm just like, cool that she got it and hopefully she's a different changed person now. But I was like, that's just crazy. Like that's just crazy to me how some people are and like how some white people really just live in a different world. Because I'm like, how is someone who has no experience with racism finally make you get it, but your teammate and teammates who are talking from live experience, you didn't get it. You didn't get it. You didn't get it? Yeah, guys, 2020 and all the people who came out the woodworks during 2020 are absolutely crazy. If you enjoyed the story time, check out my other story time called He Was a Weirdo or Grown Up PWI. I'm surprised I didn't include this one in some of the other ones, but I guess this one is just one of itself. Like, it's just crazy to me knowing that I survived, what, 12 years of going to school with people with views like that. I literally. Anyways, you guys, that was the story. A very common one when it comes to growing up PWI in good old California or anywhere, honestly. But comment if you relate. Comment if you think I was a little too nice, what you would have done. Let me know. This is a safe space for the people who survived those years because yeah, I just know so many people watching this get it. Because I feel like I can tell I have predominantly a black woman audience, but even to anybody else, I know if you're on my page, you're a real one and you understand why these opinions are wrong and you understand the bullshit. Okay, I know any white people watching this video on my page right now are chill. Okay, y'all can stay. Thank you guys so much for listening to another story time. Please check out my story times playlist, any other videos on this channel. Check out my other socials, link below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.